IVM.
That goal of being the first Indian sex symbol is not for my outer being validation. It is for the fact that I want validation of being an Indian woman that can wear this. I can wear a bikini tomorrow. If you want me to do a sex scene in a film, I'll do it. That's my job. But I am proud of who I am as a woman, of my skin color, of my body. Till today, people think I've had surgery, Botox. I've not even had a needle on my body. Touch wood. I hope I stay that way. But Indian women specifically in the Western world, we've not been given any recognition for this outer being because we've never promoted it.
Yeah.
Because where is a woman's place?
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast. I'm Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach, and today we have a very exciting episode. We're going to be talking to someone who's probably lived like a million lives already, and we're going to be understanding what her journey has been like. And I think there are lots of little things that we can learn from this. So join me in welcoming Chandrika Ravi to the Habit Coach podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, and hello everyone. Thank you for also having me in your spaces.
My pleasure. This is your first podcast, so I'm super happy you're doing this with us.
And I'm grateful that it's this, it's something that is for the betterment of people. That is the most important thing.
Yeah. On the Habit Coach podcast, we believe that you have to learn something from everybody. Right?
Absolutely.
Just like you were saying, from my story, you can probably pick up a few things.
Yeah. I always say that, I might not have all the answers, but I have stories.
Yes.
And if my stories can help you out, then my purpose on earth especially as a Hindu, my
Right.
purpose is done.
For
My purpose
this life,
is done.
at least.
For this life, for this birth.
So Chandrika, tell us a little bit about your life. So what has happened up till now?
So basically, I was born in Australia to Tamil Malayali parents from Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a third generation Indian. Grew up, my life was the arts. I started
So wait, Australia,
Singapore and Kerala,
and Kerala.
Chennai.
So that's a complete khichdi.
I call myself a fruit salad.
Wow.
I literally say I'm a fruit salad. When people are like, "What are you?" I'm like, "I'm a fruit salad." So those different upbringings already gave me a very, very different narrative. From my birth, it was already a different narrative. I also have two extremely incredible parents that perhaps from we're disciples of Swami Shantananda. He had always taught us everything in moderation, adapt, adjust, accommodate. And my parents applied that to their daughters, where it was like, okay, you can wear a bikini one day, you can wear a sari tomorrow. So that doesn't make you any less of a human being. It's what's inside that matters.
Right.
So from a young age, my whole life was dedicated to the arts. My mom and dad said that, when I was in my mom's stomach, I used to kick on beat to to bhajans and stuff. So I literally came out of the womb like a performer. I used to stand, literally, I used to stand on tables at 3 years old and be like, my name is Chandrika Ravi and the world's going to know my name and I'm going to be famous. It was all I ever knew, the arts. And my parents did everything to nourish that and guide me through that, where it was like I learned tap, jazz, ballet, hip-hop, Spanish, tap dancing, flamenco, Bollywood, everything, because it was also, you're also born in a Western country. For what you want to do, you have to be 10 times better than everyone else.
Right.
So that kind of overachieving mentality, I applied into everything I also did. So,
But the parents put that overachieving thing into you?
No, it wasn't them. It was the constant need for having to fight to have a place at the table in a different society. Because in school, I was an Indian kid, token Indian kid, because back then there was no other Indian people around. So I was a token Indian kid. So I was fighting for the non-Indian kids to like me.
Right.
Then in my performing arts school, I was fighting to be recognized to be at the front. Oh, she's at the front because she's a token kid. Instead of she's good, that's why she's at the front and center. So my whole life has been a battle. It's constant fighting. And the only place I ever felt like I didn't have to do that was at home. I always had that undying, unconditional love, support from my mom and dad, and my sister as well. And that fighting spirit just continued through my life, which is, like you said, I've lived so many lives and I've had that fighting spirit for so many of these lives. But the older I got, the less I thought I had it. The more life tainted me, the more humans tainted me, the more situations hurt me. But I would pick up and I'd keep moving, pick up and keep moving. You pick up and keep moving, because that's all I knew. I've not known anything else but to fight.
But like a belief system in your mind is like life is fighting.
Like that was something I had to like, that was my mantra. It's okay. Today I got through today. Fight again tomorrow. I'll fight again tomorrow. Now I'm in flight. Now all I want in life is peace. I told this to my therapist like 2 days ago. I just want to float. I just want to float. Whatever pushes me this way, that way, that's okay. I might cry about it, might sulk, might be upset. I'm human. I'm not a sadhu yet. I'm not a sannyasi yet. But I've never, the disparity of like constantly having to go against things to just, this is life. You know, simple things where like even when I get off a plane and I'm like, look at God. This is God. Like random things. I saw a video of a dog on Instagram just now and I was like look how the nature, God created this thing. Like that floating space that I'm in
Didn't exist earlier.
Didn't exist. I don't ever recall being in that state of mind, because also growing up, my parents, till today, my parents are working multiple jobs, but my mom and dad worked multiple jobs until I left home at 21 to put me and my sister through the best colleges, best dance schools, best acting schools, best training, best modeling schools, everything. My whole life has been my family fighting also. That's all I've seen. And it was always for their children to have a better life, for their generations to have a better life. So that fighting thing has just been in my head.
So when you see people floating through life, what do you think?
I've always craved it. I've never looked at someone and thought, oh, your life must be easy. Because I knew that I had like, you know, my dad, my grandfather, they're very calm people. I come from a very, very strong lineage of very, very strong women. My mom and both my grandmothers were like fighter spirits. But my dad and my granddad, my dad's dad, they're like this. You really have to push them to some level for them to move from that floating. I don't know if it was because they had to carry the backs of all these people. I mean, carry all these people on their backs and stuff. But I saw people still fight battles, but still float. I've seen it. Plus, with spirituality, you know, I used to think I was very religious, but I didn't realize that how I am today is religious, where I can adapt, adjust, and accommodate. But
it's a continuous journey.
It's a continuous journey.
Yes.
It's a continuous journey of also learning religion for what my life has shaped out to be. Because I am an Australian-born Indian that lives in LA and also lives in India, and I balance Hollywood and I balance Indian film industry. Like, religion is different to me than it is to anyone else. But I never ever looked at people and thought, oh, you're floating, so you're good. You've never had a problem in your life. Because I have friends that are billionaires that have way worse problems than I've had. Everyone has their own story, but it's how you choose to just let the waves like wash you, you know, further into the ocean, and then you see beauty. You still see beauty.
Correct. Like I love like I say that, you know, everyone has a story. It's up to you to have the narration changed, right? So you can change the narration of that story and see it completely change in front of your eyes as your story goes ahead. So that's what you're doing right now. You're changing the narration.
It's also it was a kind of a fight also between like, what's meant for you is always meant for you. But then they say manifest. So as a Hindu, I was like, but I know what's meant for me. Like, I was told by my guru when I was born, you're going to be an international star. So was that manifest? Like, am I having these thoughts of you continue on your career, you continue this as manifestation? Or is that what's, you know, that battle also was like, oh, I have to get to that point. I have to do this. I have to fight. I have to, oh, this is not working. If I'm not doing this, and it's also the industry, specifically in India. The Indian film industry is very much like that. If you don't have the millions of followers, if you don't have back-to-back box office hits, if you don't have this, if you don't have that, you're not a good artist. You're not a this. And that also tainted me. Despite coming from the heavy Western training of arts, where there's Oscar winners with 2,000 followers on Instagram. They're not going to lose a job because they don't have 1 million followers. I, till today, am told to my face, you're more qualified for this job than X, but we have to take X because X has over X amount of followers. Till today. So all these are fights, because then it was, oh, how do I get the 1 million followers? How do I get higher? Instead of, but you are worthy. You already have enough. Something my therapist actually made me start realizing was, yes, your career is very important. That's who you've been your whole life. But what about Chandrika? What about the Chandrika that has had a divorce, has had cervical cancer, who has moved away from home with $500 and no family, never been to America in your life? What about that Chandrika? What about the Chandrika that continues to help in the world? You know, there was a time where, not that long ago, I work with a lot of NGOs because that's just my purpose. I've always felt that my purpose was to help young girls and women, and children specifically, which is why I'm doing this also. Because if some young kid, young, old, doesn't matter, if you're in a bad situation, you can come out of it. You know, my story is like, wow, my life began after that. It was hell, but it began after that. I would always think about the fact of my career is not where it needs to be. So I'm not worthy of being a person. I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of this. I'm not worthy of that. I diminished my battles as a human being to just, it was nothing. Oh, people, to the point where even to think that like, when I got divorced, I was blindsided. I didn't know it was coming.
When was this?
I was 24. So that's also my trauma response. This is something I'm working through with my therapist. My trauma response is to block things out. So I can tell you what day I got married. I can't tell you what year I got divorced. I can tell you when it happened. Right. I can tell you what happened the day before. I can tell you all of that.
But that moment.
Like even now, I can't even tell you the year. But I know it was when I moved to LA. And I didn't know what was happening. I got blindsided with divorce papers at my door. That's his story to tell why it happened, but it was not very good. It was a horrible marriage. It was not healthy for either of us. And basically a month later, I went for a routine checkup, and the doctor basically referred me to OBGYN because they were like, oh, it looks like you have abnormal cells, in your cervix. You need to go get checked. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm going through a divorce, bro. Like
there's enough stuff on my plate.
There's enough stuff on my plate. I was 24, 25. I was like, I'm new in LA. My whole life changed overnight. I have bigger fish to fry. If I die, I die. I literally said this to my parents one day. I was like, if I die, I die. It is what it is. I've gone through hell already, thinking that was hell. And fast forward, I ended up going for a checkup, and they were like, it's precancerous. And I was like, cool, great. Another stamp on my passport for like another destination I have to go to. And my grandmother got re-diagnosed with breast cancer that same week. So my parents not only had to deal with a daughter that was dealing with a divorce by herself in LA, literally losing her mind, then finding out she had cervical cancer, possible cervical cancer, then the grandmother finding out that she had, breast cancer. And I literally remember my parents were never anti-mental health, but they were very pray. Not the mental health is not real, like pray. It was just pray, ma. It's okay. That's all you can do. You're doing your best. Till today, that's the one thing that always goes in my head. My mom and dad saying, it's okay, ma. You're doing your best. And I remember calling my parents, and my little apartment that I had that had to think about these things, like it had no heater, no AC. So in the hot of LA summers, I was boiling. In the cold winter, I was freezing. I remember rocking myself on the floor with one of the worst anxiety attacks I've ever had, crying to my mom and dad. And my parents are not well off. My mom was like, Chandrika, I can't even get on a flight to come to you. Is there anyone you can call? And at that point, I'd lost every person that was around me because I gave up that for my relationship. And I literally did not care about my health. I did not care about anything. 6 months had passed, and my parents begged me to come home. They said, you need to take care of this. And by then, luckily, we did it because one of the parts had progressed to stage 1. The rest were still precancerous. I still, till maybe last year, would walk around saying there's people that have gone through worse. My grandmother had cancer twice. She had a mastectomy. What is some cervical cancer? You're young. You're fine. Look at you today. I still would tell myself that. I would still completely make my sufferings that I've had so tiny because, again, I didn't value myself enough. I didn't value my strength. I didn't value myself as a woman of color that has braved not just one Western society, 2 Western societies, then come here and try to do something different. That was my worth. Those to tell yourself that cancer is not serious.
Yeah.
Even now, saying it, I'm laughing in my head that I even thought that. That I was like, divorce. I'm young. It's okay. Who cares?
Yeah,
Life
you probably
happens.
want to go back to the role, Chandrika, and give him a thappad saying,
I-
that, look at that.
You know who I want to go back to? The young one.
The young one.
The young one that had those dreams, and to remind her, don't ever let those dreams like overtake anything. Those dreams are yours, but don't let anyone take away your power. Don't let anyone or anything take your power. My parents used to always tell my sister and I growing up that we are your best friends. And I used to joke about it. I'd be like, whatever. Like, I have best friends, like, outside of the house, you know. But something as little as that, which is what I'm trying to implement into our Indian households, is that relationship with your parents. If you can establish that, children will. I had that, and I still went in different course directions.
You never like appreciate the things
I
we
didn't
have.
appreciate it until, like, I kid you not, till today. I speak to my mom and dad like 5-6 times on the phone every day. I speak to them more than I speak to anyone. I'm like, I should probably have a relationship at some point, but it's okay. I have a great relationship with my parents.
Yeah.
I don't need to look for love anywhere, which also was a catch because my dad is the most incredible man I've ever met in my life, where he has not only instilled in us the idea that an Indian man can be a father like that supports their daughters and, you know, challenges you, pushes you and all these things, but he showed that it's okay to have weakness. It's okay to be soft. It's okay to have a heart. It's okay to operate from love. My dad opens the door for my mom and it's like, welcome home, queen. They call each other Prem, like they're, as in Sanskrit. I'm like, you guys are sickening. But that also was something that ingrained in my mind that I thought every man was going to be like this. So then I would fix men. So that's why I want to go back to that little girl. Because that little girl, nothing could take anything away from her. It was love. My grandparents are in love. My parents are in love. Everything is beautiful. Life is beautiful. You know, it's okay. I see struggles, but I have a dream. I can make it. Then life happened. And then that little girl disappeared. And I feel like she's slowly coming back now. Like, I feel her coming back. There's days where I have to start this internal dialogue. I've started doing it recently, where I tell myself, I am worthy. I am talented. I'm beautiful. I'm loved. I'm healthy. I'm happy. I'm wealthy. I'm this. I'm that. It might not be true. I might not feel it, but I've started to catch myself now. Even the slightest thought comes, it's like a automatic mantra now. Instead of saying Sahasranamam or this or that or Shiva Stotram, that is my mantra now. Simple things. My daily prayer, after I do my daily prayer, I pray to God and I say, just guide me. I now have to pray to God to say, if something's not meant for me, take it away in the most drastic way. Take it away.
I love that, in the most drastic way.
In the most drastic way.
Like, make sure I recognize
Make
it.
sure I recognize this is a sign. Because imagine my husband not wanting to be with me and I'm begging him to stay with me. His truth is something that he can eventually talk about. But this person does not want to be with me at all. Has told me to my face. Has told me, I don't want you in my life. And I'm saying, please don't let me go. I have no one else. Please don't leave me. Who? Your mother, your father, your sister, your guru might be passed, but he's still there. Your grandparents, the few friends you had left in LA.
And you can't see any of those.
I can't see anyone. All I can see is this person that I have changed to mold into to fit their narrative of what they want of me. And I've done this a lot of my life because growing up as an Indian kid in a Western society, I've had to fit boxes my whole life.
So you felt you were like Play-Doh, so you could change.
I literally was slime. Until last year, I didn't realize that I'm enough. It's like this actress just won an Oscar. Her name's Divine. She literally said, for so long I was trying to be different. I just had to be myself. Chandrika Ravi I've always said that I was going to be the first global Indian sex symbol. Someone that showed both sides of the pond. Someone that was born on the other side of the pond, but still represented India and had her roots here and everything. Why was I trying to fit all these other boxes? My narrative is no one can say they've walked in my shoes. Not one single person. There's times where nowadays I sit back and I think about it. And this is no discrimination to my friends or anything, where I'm like, I don't know anyone that could have battered the storms that I have. My mom has had conversations with friends where their children have got divorced and they're bad-mouthing the child's ex-spouse. And my mom, and we didn't tell a lot of people that I was married because I didn't marry an Indian person. I protected my parents because, not because I thought I was going to get divorced, but I didn't want that prejudice. Oh, well, you allowed your daughter to marry a non-Indian.
Now see what happened.
Now you see what happened. So my mom ended up telling a friend of hers, like, I'm going to tell you something. Chandrika is actually divorced. And this family friend of ours was like, oh my God, what happened? My mom said, till today, Chandrika never says that she hates him. She hates what he does. She wishes him well. She prays for him. She sends him love and light. She never says that she hates him. My daughter is the most kind-hearted human being I've ever seen in my life. The amount of things that she's gone through, and she's still standing here today, wanting to do good in the world, wanting to help, wanting to this, wanting to that. That girl, that's that little Chandrika. Because I was so naive. I just didn't care. I was just happy. Despite everything that was going on. No, I have a dream. I have a dream. I have a dream. And I think that was the manifestation. Whether it's meant for me or not, like, that is He's already written that for me. But that was the manifestation. Because that girl there was nothing tainting her. So everything, it was just purity, right? Pure innocence, pure belief that I could do something. When I moved to LA, I slept on a bus stop for 3 days with $500. I had nowhere to go. I didn't know what to do. All I knew was, this is where I'm going to be. This is the city of dreams. If I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. People say New York and Bombay. No. You try and make it in LA and live there. Forget being a working artist. Live there. Just live in LA. The things that you're exposed to, the things that you have to be a part of, it's a very, very different world.
Yeah.
But that little girl brought me there. That little girl brought me here. I just thought I didn't have her anymore.
Rediscovering ourselves in that way.
I'm rediscovering myself. And it's that word rediscovery is actually very, very different to me now. A lot of people say I'm going back to my old self. This is a whole new Chandrika. This Chandrika is, I'm learning her. Where now, even when it comes to relationships, friendships, I have to sit and gauge whether this is something that I want to be a part of, because I still don't know myself now. I'm still learning myself. Are you someone that should come into my space? Are you going to bring me out of my sattvic santam,
Are you going to add calm back
are you going to take me out of this calm floating level? Are you going to bring me into behaviors where I used to band-aid things and do things just for a rise or a quick fix, or, oh, you pissed me off today, so I'm going to go out to hang out with my friends and have a late night. Like, that's also okay. Like, that's also a realization where it's okay. Life is everything in moderation. But this rediscovery is like bringing that little girl and this Chandrika, this almost 35-year-old Chandrika, together and realizing, oh, she's the same person, but you've just never been this person before. That to me is like, to hear my own thoughts is very crazy. To hear myself being like, it's okay. Or you went through this because of that. Or you're feeling this because it affects you. Instead of, I have to protect myself, but I don't want to lose this situation. I don't want to lose this job. I don't want to lose this friend. I don't want to lose this boyfriend. So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. What you're doing is affecting me, but it's okay. I'll just deal with it myself.
Yeah.
It was like, I wasn't, no one
it's
was.
Because you've changed so much because of the people around you.
That as well.
Yeah.
I've outgrown a lot of people.
And I'm so happy we're having this discussion because my goal for this year, so I always set a one-word intention for each year. And the one-word intention for this year is to remember. Because in Jan, I was looking at my old baby pictures after God knows how long, and I saw my
You're gonna make me like
self
cry. This is
right. And you saw something in your eyes, and you saw something in your face that you've forgotten or didn't realize existed. And I was like, that was who I was. Can I remember that? That was wisdom in that kid's eyes. Where has that gone? Can I start remembering this? And so for me, it was to remember. So I'm so happy we're having this conversation because it's exactly the same.
It's the same thing. Like, so my grandfather passed away in September last year, and life kind of just took a halt for me completely. I was very close to my grandfather, but I was in a very, very, very dark space last year. Very dark space. And it started with moving to Bombay. It just went downhill after that. because I think when I lived in LA, I was able to move away from the politics of the Indian film industry. I could come do my job and go back, come do my job and go back. Being here was a different thing. And that's a whole other conversation. We already know the things that happen here. And I went back home with my parents. I went back to Australia from Singapore. And I decided to open my albums, baby albums. I cried for hours. I took scans of all of them. Even last week, I was sending screenshots because I scanned everything. I had them on my computer. I was sending them to my parents with tears streaming down my face because I look at that little girl, and that little girl had so many dreams, so many aspirations, and she thought she could do it. Then I thought I couldn't. Then everything became about everyone else. Everything else. How does my life look to other people? Because I'm an artist. I have to be a certain way. I have to operate a certain way. I have to be a certain way. There's, that saying, the death of the ego is the birth of the soul. Where I had to question myself, is me chasing this super stardom an ego thing? Or is it because I want to do more in the world? Realizing then it was like, you have to tell yourself you're beautiful. You have to tell yourself you're talented. But is that ego? No, that's Chandrika assuring herself that you are good enough so you don't look for that validation elsewhere. You have it from your parents. You have it from the people that matter the most. Your sister, your mom, your dad, your guru, your grandparents, the people that mattered gave you that. Our eyes when we were little, we didn't see pain. We saw color. We saw beauty. We saw life.
Yeah.
We saw joy. No matter how you grew up. When I think of growing up, despite knowing my parents were not well off, my mom used to save her government assistance to take us to Burger King once a month. I thought that was the best thing. That little girl enjoyed these small things. Today, actually, landing into Bombay, and, I saw the slums, I literally started praying. Because I've always thought that, like I said, I'm not enough. I used to think I wasn't enough. Where there was a time where, like I was saying before, I do a lot of charity work in NGOs and everything. Not that long ago, I didn't even have money to donate myself. And I felt like a hypocrite because I was promoting for other people to support causes that I believed in. Meanwhile, I couldn't even donate $1. So I put myself down. Instead of looking at the fact that at least I'm doing something.
And donating your time.
At least I'm donating my time. At least I'm using my voice. At least I'm using my platform. Because for a long time, the fight then became, Chandrika, you look like this. You post pictures in bikinis. You don't have anything to say. Keep your mouth shut. You don't know what you're talking about. There was a time where people abused me when I did Miss World Australia. I was the first Indian girl to ever place in the state finals. There's a bikini round. I got told that I was the reason why women were getting raped in India. There were years that I dealt with that. It was years that I dealt with that. Until it became okay for Bollywood actresses to wear bikinis and this and that, the other, and post pictures, then it was fine. But because some girl that came from somewhere else, who had a little darker skin and spoke her mind, was doing it, it was a problem. Even in that, where I was like, should I speak up for injustices? Do I have something to say? And it's a different thing, like now when you speak about the war and people don't take a side. That's a different thing. You are telling a woman that is trying to do something good in the world, keep quiet, because you're just your outer being. You're nothing more than that. So as women, we already fight for so many things. That no wonder that little girl got left behind. Because what that little girl was brought up to believe, everyone else is like, no, it's not true. It's not right. It's not real. It's all in your head. Then what do? Then you look for the validation from elsewhere, from men, from work, from outfits, makeup, whatever it is, travel, Band-Aids, whatever the Band-Aid is.
Constant
distractions. I was so afraid of having my mind be quiet. There's a meditation center in LA, Paramahansa Yogananda's meditation center, and I go there a lot. There's a sign that says, "Be still and know that I'm God." When I first read that, I was like, what do you mean? Be still and know that I'm God. I want to be active. That means God is real. Look at this. I'm traveling here. Look at this beautiful country. Look at this waterfall. Look at this. Now I realize that I understand what that means. I just want to be still. Okay, this happened. Okay, it's happening to me. It's happening for me. There's a lesson out of it. Okay, I went through cancer. Okay. Yes, there are people that go through worse, but that was my story to tell. That was my battle to fight. That is something that I can look back on and say, wow, in 1 year, forget 1 year, in 1 month, you went through a divorce and found out you had possible cancer cells. Then you fought everything yourself, by yourself in LA. You battled that. Then you moved to India by yourself. Then you did this. Then you did this. Then you did this. And you flew here. You did that. These are my stories to tell. These are my scars. And no longer am I allowing anyone else to put the knives in me. I'm choosing not to put knives in myself either. If I happen to, I catch myself, which is the internal doubt. You're beautiful. You're this. You're that. Might be stupid to someone else, but to me, it's taking my power back.
Yeah. Have you, so Yogananda Paramahansa's Bhagavad Gita, you must read it. It's that thick.
I have it.
It's huge. Yeah. So, in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, both sides blow their conch shells, right? So the Kauravas blow it and the Pandavas blow it. And it's so interesting, his analysis of this. So the Kauravas are blowing this, which are all the negative thoughts and the self-beliefs that exist in our mind. And then there are Pandavas that are blowing it, which is our mind saying, no, that is not true. And there is this battle that constantly takes place in our mind. The entire Bhagavad Gita that he's explained is fascinating. You must go through it if you...
I definitely would. I have it. So I've got that. I've got the Mahabharata. Growing up, I read everything. All the Amar Chitra Kathas, I had everything. Then again, I got lost.
Yeah. And you see it with a very different lens now. Especially with his
100%.
with his narration of it and his understanding of it. It's very different.
Yeah. But that's that battle also that I think I've had for so long, because trying to fit into the Indian industry, then trying to be the norm. I never had to fit into Hollywood, because that's the life I grew up with. I grew up in a
That's
Western,
easy for you.
That's easy. That's more natural to me than this is natural to me. But trying to fit in here is a different thing. But that battle of what's right? Who am I? But who was I trying to please? And I might ruffle feathers by saying this, but I always say, when I hear a lot of young girls send me messages, they call me Akka. I always tell these kids to call me older sister, Akka or whatever. And they'll send me DMs and they'll say, I really want to do this. How do I start? Or how do I, where do my parents won't allow me? And I always say it starts with a conversation, because realistically, who is going to live that life? I look at my life and I see that I had the support, and I still thought I wasn't good enough. I still thought, oh, India's not going to accept me. Oh, this person's not going to, this, all the questions came. And I had the support. It just starts with putting yourself first, and it is a cycle. It's what we talk to our friends about. When they have children, hopefully they implement. It really is a cycle.
You pass it on.
We pass it on. And the world is ever changing. There is no strict idea of a Hindu or a Christian, or there's no guideline anymore. We have social media. We have so many, this generation, I fear for kids. I really fear for a lot of kids, because there's trolling, there's this, there's that. People just feel so comfortable to tell you what they feel or what they think. Or
anonymous people.
Anonymous, without a face. We're already fighting our own battles. We're already fighting our own demons. The two conches are already blowing. Then we have to listen to some other person saying something and giving you, unsolicited advice or opinions on X, Y, and Z. It's already so much to brave as a human being. And then coming from a cultural background of us being Indians, where we have generations of ideologies and rules and this and that. And I'm not saying break them, but I'm saying create a narrative that suits you. Create, till today, people think it's crazy that I don't eat beef. And I'm like, no, that's something I don't want to do. I also get told, oh, you look like that, but then you pray every day. So mutually exclusive. Like I can't be a practicing Hindu and then also like be a Western person. Like this is my narrative. This is what I've chosen to do.
And that is your stereotype.
This is
so
my,
that is your
that's
way of
your
thinking about
idea
it.
that you've created in your head that I have to be a certain way. But my entire focus is also, yes, now I'm focusing on myself, but my focus is also to amplify this image that I have of myself to the world, because I want other young kids that grew up like me in a Western country, whether you were born there or not, to understand that it's okay to be both. Create your own idea of what both is, but don't let either side go. Because we are the generation that's going to push this beauty of our culture, our people. And it doesn't matter whether you're Hindu or Indian or Muslim or Chinese, those mixed kids, we're the ones that are really going to like create this new narrative.
Shake things up.
Where, like, I can't stand going to coffee places and it's like chai, this chai. Like, there's like,
it's a chai latte.
It's a chai latte, like chai tea latte. I'm like, chai. Like, is that what you're giving me? You know, like, but we're the ones that actually speak up now.
Yeah.
You know, like, we're the ones that actually are going to say, no, this is not for you to take. This is our thing. But we have to have that voice. But that comes from understanding yourself. That comes from understanding your worth
and your goals. Like, I love your goal to be the world's first Indian sex symbol, right? That is like a huge goal right there.
It's a huge goal, and you know, I'm already halfway there. The thing is, I created that in the outside of India before I came here. I was already known as that. You know, where in LA and stuff, like my friends where I go, like 1 week I might be in Cannes or I might be here, Paris Fashion Week. Like, that's the life I've already created for myself. It didn't transpire here. But that goal of being the first Indian sex symbol is not for my outer being validation. It is for the fact that I want validation of being an Indian woman that can wear this. I can wear a bikini tomorrow. If you want me to do a sex scene in a film, I'll do it. That's my job. But I am proud of who I am as a woman, of my skin color, of my body. Till today, people think I've had surgery, Botox. I've not even had a needle on my body. Touch wood. I hope I stay that way. But Indian women specifically in the Western world, we've not been given any recognition for this outer being because we've never promoted it.
Yeah. Because
where is a woman's place?
That's the thing, right? This is your job. Your values are different, and people can't see the.
They can't see the difference. There's no line. There's no even. I mean, right now I'm playing a DSP officer in my film. My next film, I'm playing a housewife. After that, I'm doing the Silk Smita biopic. My last film was a song. Before that was a song. Before that, I played a ghost. Before that, I played a assassin. People are like, "But you usually do songs." I'm like, "So? I'm a trained dancer. Why can't I do songs?" Oh, but it's just item songs, no? Like, you'd be typecast. So, why can't I be typecast? Why can't I be that? Why can't I play it? Then it was, but you're playing a DSP officer. We usually do songs.
Sexy DSP officer.
I'm a sexy DSP officer. I'm going to arrest you to give me all your money. But why can't I create my own idea of what I am? Why does it have to be dictated by you? Why can't where I was scared, there was a time, so when I told my parents that I was ready to talk, this was, I think 3 weeks ago we spoke. My mom and dad knew that I finally came to the point where I didn't care about what specifically India would say about my divorce. I hid that for a very long time, that I was divorced, because I wasn't at that level of superstardom to say I'm divorced and people be like, oh, it's fine, it's okay.
We accept you the way you are.
We'll accept you the way you are. I was still at that level where it was like, oh, it's gonna be she's from America, she was born in Australia. See, her parents didn't control her, married a non-Indian. But I said, screw it. My life began after that. It really was rocky for the last 10 years.
Yeah, these are blessings. These are the things that you write in your gratitude journal.
My life began after that. It might have been hard, but when I think of all the countries I went to, the jobs I've done, the people I've met, the lives I've lived, the things I've done, the fun I've had, the sadness I've had, everything came after that divorce. I thank him for doing that. I thank him for letting me go, because
In that particular way, that's the important bit.
like I said, I pray
Yeah.
for drastic endings now. I literally pray for drastic endings now, where even the last person I dated, it was like, it felt like a movie. It was the first time in 14 years I'd met someone that genuinely, I was like, this is a great human being. It was the most drastic ending, but also not a drastic ending. Nothing happened. It was just, I had to leave. That's it. Got them finished. I'm in India now. Like, I don't know when I'm coming back home. I'll see you whenever. But it was drastic. But I have to pray to God like that now, because otherwise I'll try and fix it. I'll keep trying to pull it. It's like, you know, that thing where you see the meme on Instagram where it's like Jesus with the teddy bear behind his back, and you're like, but I want it, Jesus. And Jesus has like a huge teddy bear behind his back and you have this small one. I'm like, no, give me back. Like, I will keep push doors. And I'm constantly trying to fix things. And then I was broke.
Isn't it tiring?
It is exhausting. This happened last year. I'm that friend where my best friends had my house key. They would have my location. They would know where I'm at 24/7. I'd be on the phone for 7 hours, even if I've had the worst day possible, or if I've been on set for 15 hours, I'll still be on the phone with you for 7 hours if you need a friend. Then I slowly started cutting back. I turn off my location, take my key away, lie and say I'm not even in the country. Like, that drastic, where my friends would be like, your car's in the house though. Like, what do you mean?
So you need your space.
I need my space. But I had a close friend say, you don't love me anymore. And I realized that I'd been that friend to everyone. Whether it was a lover, whether it was a friend, I'd been that person to everyone for so long. Who was there for me? Where, you know, obviously my parents are my best friends, but nowadays there's times where I take breaks from them. Like, I'll speak every day, but I'll take a break and my parents will automatically know. My dad will send me a message and say, Ma, what's happening? Normally you always call. Are you okay? We're here for you. That's what I need.
Nice.
But I couldn't have crutches anymore. I had to slowly break away the crutches, the LA lifestyle, the relationships, the horrible relationships. Like, when I say horrible, when my memoir comes out, if you were to read the things that I put up with and still be like, this is the Chandrika that went from Australia to Singapore to Sydney to LA to India, this girl was putting up with this. When I tell you, it was sheer stupidity. Like, I am healed enough now today to say I was so stupid to not put myself first for the last 14, 15 years of my life. To put someone else's dreams and goals, whether they were a friend, a foe, an enemy, a lover, to put their ideas first, their choices, their dreams, their goals first. I moved to LA for my dreams. Then it was begging someone to stay with me because I had nothing. It's okay, you moved with nothing. Like, you can do it again. You know, I'd rather fight like that than constantly be fighting.
Yeah. So we have a podcast where I've termed this word called salmoning. You know, so many people spend their life like a salmon trying to swim upstream, right? And they're struggling. I tell them, but you're not a salmon. Why are you trying to swim upstream? Instead, you need to learn how to flow with the river. Like a raft just by itself will crash against the rocks. But you need to flow with the river and learn how to do that.
You also have to know how to take the anchor off the water.
Absolutely.
You know, my friend, when I first moved to LA, I had a conversation with my friend, and he's an actor as well, but he's one of those actors that's not chasing superstardom. He just is happy. And I used to feel bad talking about my goals, saying, no, I'm going to be a superstar, watch. And again, changing the narrative of superstar doesn't mean Instagram followers. Superstar is people recognizing me for what I've done. People telling me, Chandrika, thank you for being the first this, that, whatever. Superstar is not every 100 crore. Yes, my last film was a 100 crore film. And am I going to take that to my grave? It's not my film. I did a song in it. I am a part of it. Fantastic. But that's not, you know. But he told me, he's like, Chandrika, you can't expect to go when you're You are pushing the anchor further into the water. So the waves can't even push you. That's why you're sitting here like this. You're rocking like this because you're stuck. You have put this, you are driving it into the ocean further. And that floating, I'm in that level now where there's things that are knocking me this way and knocking me that way. But then it's so odd for me to just be like, that's life. Like there's a certain few things that are going on in my work life at the moment. And obviously I have an incredible team, but because I'm close to my parents, I tell them everything. My mom and dad had genuine concern. And the other day I said, so be it.
It's okay.
They were like, huh?
Yeah.
Like they were, and this is something I've done. I'm so used to having bad things happen to me, touch wood.
You don't say touch wood to that.
Like I don't want it to ever happen again. I'm so used to having bad things happen to me that I used to anticipate it. Like I would anticipate.
Of course it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
No, but I would look forward to bad things happening because that's all I knew how to navigate.
Yeah, that's your norm.
That's my norm. My norm is usually, strapped for cash. I don't know how I'm going to pay rent. This, that. My boyfriend left me. Oh, my boyfriend cheated on me. Oh, this friend is a bad friend. Oh, this. It was constant. That's all I knew. But I still had to continue this path of superstardom. But also not tell people that was my path, because me explaining to you what my superstardom is one thing. If you just heard me talking on the street like I'm going to be a superstar, you'd be like, of course, another girl that just wants to be some star. Instead of understanding why I want to be a star, why I've been chasing stardom.
And do you have a plan? Do you have a goal? Do you have
exactly.
all these things, right?
Without knowing, this is 32 years in the making. I started performing at 3 years old. This path is never going to go. I don't have a backup plan. I've never had a backup plan. My backup plan has been this. Like all roads lead to this one thing that I'm constantly doing. The phone is constantly rang. Might not be at the time that I wanted it, but it's constantly rung. But that path has always been my path. But I've had to fight all these battles on the side, but still be solo on this path. Right. I remember telling my therapist this last year, when people usually go through things that they go through, they see darkness. I didn't see darkness. I started imagining myself in the middle of like the Nevada desert, imagine. And all I see is desert and mountain ranges. But I turn back and I can see lights and I can see pictures and collages of my family and one good relationship, some good friends, a memory here, this trip, but then now there's no path. And I'm like, where do I go? It's not darkness. And then I realized that was my reconnection with God. I had to come back to God. That's why I'm not seeing darkness. I had to come to the point where I was like, I need God. Pray through it, pray with it, pray. Everything is prayer. Pray. And my guru used to say no single silly prayer goes unanswered. And it wasn't about I had to go and sit and recite Trishadi and this and that. It was just I had to sincerely say, God, I need your help. And also actively make the changes. Take away the distractions. Take away the bandages.
You have to put the work in.
I had to put the work in. Even in that, the imposter syndrome came with, you're not a good person. That's why God's not helping you. You're doing this. You did this. Your past sins, your past mistakes. That's why God's not helping you. Instead of being like, no, you're lost. And for me, that junction is very, very prevalent in every aspect of my life.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a girl that's lived a one-dimensional life. I was born to parents from Singapore, Indian grandparents. I was born in Australia, lived in LA for the most important parts of my life, and now have India. So I'm at a three-way junction in every aspect of my life. My career.
Everything's a fruit salad.
Everything is a fruit salad. Even a relationship.
Yeah.
Where I've never really seen myself dating an Indian man. And not because I have any discrimination or anything, but the ones that I've come across have not appreciated my strong-headedness, my uniqueness and whatever. But then it's, whoever I do date, do they appreciate this? Everything is a three-way
But they
jump.
have like a checklist then that you have to go through.
I usually have a checklist. And my main checklist is, are you okay with me being this person? And I've never really had issues with the men that I've been with, the men that I've dated. But that junction is something I'm constantly in. Like I'm constantly having to is this Indian? Is this not? Is this who? Is this in line with my old me? Is this in line with new me? Is this, that constant.
The chitter chatter has to happen.
I used to think that if there's no chitter chatter, it's perfect. I used to think that it's supposed to be easy. It's not. You're supposed to ask yourself these tough questions. You're supposed to question, what is your impact in the world? I always tell people that my most important thing is what people say after I'm gone. I want some kid 50 years down the line, hopefully 100 years, but some kid to be like, there was this girl that did this and did that and created a new narrative. And that's why we're here today. Because that's what people say about people like Sophia Loren and Salma Hayek and Penelope Cruz and the people that I looked up to and still look up to. That's what people used to say about that. Silk Smitha, number one on my list. That's why I'm doing her biopic. I want people to say that about me. She created her own narrative. She fought. She did this. She was a soldier. She fought battles. And now her scars are a lighthouse for people.
Yeah. And you can look at these and follow.
I can now look back and smile and say, wow, I did all of that. I battled all of this. And yes, having parents and supportive parents and all this is great, but I did it myself. I literally fought these battles myself. I didn't have funds to get me out of it. I didn't have rich parents. I didn't have superstardom at that time.
Follow the fight. I think that's the beautiful one.
It was just follow the fight. In a way, the constant fighting got me to this floating. If I didn't experience that constant fight, I wouldn't crave this floating so badly. Where now everything I do in life has to bring me peace.
So that's the new direction
that
for
is
you.
Everything. Everything in my life is about peace now.
Amazing.
Everything. Even creating boundaries with my own family in a good way. Not that I need to, but in a good way.
No, that peace, once you create the boundary, you know that peace.
This boundary that I've created, this peace that I have, and it's only getting stronger every day, which is the most beautiful thing. There's so much chaos already in my life with my career because I can't help it. Like, especially how the Indian film industry...
It has to be. So, in fact, one of my questions was, I want to understand being sexy. All right? Like, what does it mean? What are some habits that we can all use to try and figure out how can we be a little sexy in our lives? Like, you're talking about Silk Smitha and you're talking about being, a global sex symbol. What does that mean for us? What can we take away and say, how can we be sexy in our lives?
So this is a very, very, I feel like a contradictory thing to say because I believed it that I was for a while and then I lost myself. So I didn't believe that I was, but I had to, it was my fight. So I had to believe, to convince myself that I was that person. What I've realized is it's just an empowerment thing. I feel sexy in this sari today. I got on a plane like this. Today was the first time I've ever flown on a plane in a sari, and I felt good. I can wear... most of the time I'm in men's clothes. I shop more in the men's department than I do in the women's. I wear oversized clothes, but I still feel it's an internal thing. And it's not just about feeling sexy. It's just about feeling beautiful, self-worthy, whatever it is, which I know sounds crazy coming from someone that just said that they didn't feel all these things for so long. Maybe it's because from a young age, my mom, my grandmothers, all three of them would be like, Chandrika, why are you walking out of the house like this? Where's your earrings? Why is your hair like that? That is putting yourself first. It's not about impressing anyone else. It's how do you want to represent yourself? And if you ask any of my friends in LA or Australia or anywhere, if you ask them who's your best dressed friend, they'd always say me. And it's not because I'm wearing the best clothes. I didn't have designer stuff growing up. I didn't, but I made an effort to make myself presentable, to feel good. Because you start convincing yourself. It's that self-talk. I am beautiful. I'm worthy. I'm this. When I walk out of the house, this is also crazy. I was so insecure for a time where until I walk out of the house, I'm like, wow, you look great today, Chandrika. Your makeup looks fantastic. You did great hair today. I do my own makeup for films, usually, because no one does makeup the way I do. So imagine still people telling you that you're worthy of doing your own makeup on a film, and you're walking out of the house, the moment you step out of your safe zone, do I look good? Oh, I should have done my makeup this way. Oh, my hair's not good. Oh, should I have worn this outfit? Oh, my arms are too fat. Oh, this. It was an automatic thing that went off. The moment my door shut behind me, I didn't even have to see anyone. That's comfort left. And then I stopped believing in myself. Something as little as your outer presence, your outer beauty. I didn't even believe that. Some people fake it, can fake it, and you can tell.
Of course.
You know, you can tell when someone's not comfortable in an outfit or comfortable in their hair or makeup or whatever. I still have those internal battles. Like, for example, today I have to attend an event and I suffer from psoriasis and eczema, and I have a patch on my leg where I'm like, should I wear that outfit? And I've been planning this outfit. Like, I've wanted to wear this outfit for months. For months. When I tell you for months, and I'm worried about what someone else might say about my little patch of eczema on my back. But it's just being proud of yourself. You don't have to wear the most expensive things. You don't have to wear the best things. It's just that empowerment. And I think because the manifestation and the truly believing it, that I'm sexy, I'm beautiful, that voice was still there. The other noises became louder.
But what you said is very important, which is that you have to put in the work. You have to dress up. You have to put the little effort in to make you feel like you've done something special.
It is. People might think it's little. It's actually not. It can change the entire trajectory of your day. It's little things where, and I'm sure people can turn around and be like, oh, she has time to do this or time to do that. I do everything myself. I do my own hair. I do my own makeup. I don't remember the last time someone did my glam. I do not allow people to do my stuff. I do everything myself, because that also goes back to how I want to make sure I feel 100%. Because if someone does something that I don't like, it's going to show. It's going to show on camera.
Course.
It's going to show in my walk. It's going to show in my behavior. It's going to show in everything. I've always faked it till I made it, in the sense of I didn't have money when I moved to LA, but I was walking red carpets for network television shows in outfits that cost me like $5, but I had to wear it like it was a $5,000 outfit. My wedding, I wore a $5 rack dress from Forever 21 that was on sale, and I bought a pair of shoes for $3 from like a secondhand store. My wedding outfit cost me less than $10 US. And I had to walk into that courtroom and feel like I was the most beautiful girl in the world, and I was about to get married, and it was the greatest day of my life. I've had to do this so many times in my life, which is why I think I've been able to embody that she's that presence. That's the one thing I will say, that no matter what has happened in my life, I know that I walk into a room and I command attention. And it's not my outer being. It's that internal power. That little girl's power is actually much stronger than I give it reasoning or recognition for. That power is not about how you dress. Again, you can wear a paper bag. It's that I did this. I'm this person. I'm powerful. Again, that like you said, the little kid's eyes, what we feel when we're that level, we have to keep maintaining that. No. We have to keep stressing to ourselves that is the most important voice, not the voices that we have today. Because these voices that we have today are influenced by friends, peers, Instagram, this, that, the media.
So many things.
So many things where this is really stupid, but there was a time like 2 years ago, I just got out of a relationship, and it was like before I met the last guy I was dating. And, you know, I live in LA where we wear whatever we want, you know, but I'm conservative to a certain level. Like I will show skin, but not like, I'm not going to go to the club in a bikini, you know, certain things. But again, my friends dress like that. It's LA. Like, that's how people dress. I used to come home. I literally remember telling my therapist this, saying, am I not attractive? Like, why are guys not talking to me? They're talking to my friends that are like dressed in a little less clothes than I am. Do I have to dress like that? But I don't dress like that. That's not me. But that moment I've walked out of my safe zone, my four walls, that's the thought that goes in. They're not talking to me because of this. You're not getting attention. Because I just didn't believe that I had everything. My intellect is more important. My heart is more important. For me, till today, the greatest compliment that anyone ever gives me is that, oh my God, you're actually such a nice person. Because I'm trying to break that taboo of, oh, if you look like this, you can't, there's nothing inside, you're empty, you're a bimbo. I actually have, when I come into a room, I'm coming in with a full deck of cards. And people don't know that. People don't know that I have a story to tell. I'm doing good in the world. I have lots to share. I have scars. I have battle wounds. But I have a great heart. And I think that is my sexiness today.
I love it.
That is my sexiness today. That I am just a fruit salad of all these different things. And that's why I can be the first Chandrika, but not the last. I want anyone to walk in their light tomorrow and be like, I decided to put my makeup on, or I decided to wear a better outfit for myself, not for someone else. Because that's when we lose ourselves.
Yeah, for me and for
me.
that younger Chandrika that was there. I love it. This is a beautiful place to, I think, end the podcast. Thank you so much, Chandrika, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It has been really cathartic. It's been, I thought it would be heavier, but I think because I'm ready.
I think so. And it was like a mini therapy session as well.
It was. Thank you so much for having
pleasure.
me. It's been incredible.
IVM.